Agreed to, and I call the member for Sturt.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I'd like to absolutely commence by acknowledging the Honourable Joan Hall, who is with us today, and it's a great honour for you, Joan, to bestow on us to come to Canberra and be here to witness a very important tribute to your late husband, the Honourable Steele Hall. And I thank my colleague, the member for Barker, for bringing this motion to the chamber. And I think it is very touching that we've got so many South Australian members of the House of Representatives here with us today for this debate from both sides of the chamber. And indeed, in the period since Steele's passing, of course, it is a mark of the man and a measure of the man that all sides of politics have had such tributes to pay to Steele Hall. I note the points that the member for Barker made about his time as Premier and concur with them wholeheartedly, particularly the two matters that he singled out regarding electoral reform and the Dartmouth Dam. And indeed, it was the issue of the Dartmouth Dam that, of course, led to an early election in 1970 because of the independent member for the seat we now refer to as the Riverland, who held the balance of power in the House and indeed wanted to see the Chowler Dam be built instead of Dartmouth. And that was one of the many examples in Steele Hall's career where he put the right decision ahead of the easy decision. It would have been very easy for him to succumb to the politics and the parochialism of that, and instead, of course, he was prepared to put the interests of South Australia at the fore. And his career as Premier, whilst it was only a couple of years, you can reflect on the achievements of those few years, and a lot of people would say that it's not the time in government, it's what you do with that time that counts. And Steele Hall's legacy of his time as Premier is very, very significant and substantial. Of course, he served in the Senate, and in that very famous Senate, the one that, of course, dealt with the challenging 1975 deferral of the budget, and it would have been a remarkable time to serve in the old Parliament House when the cut and thrust and the tension of that moment was occurring. And he was, of course, a participant in something that is one of the most famous chapters of federal politics, of Australian politics, the 1975 ultimate dismissal of the Whitlam government. And his time in the Senate, not only specific to that, but a range of other issues in and of itself, is quite fascinating. And then, of course, most importantly to all of us as members of the House of Representatives, he indeed served in our chamber from 1981 to 1996. And as the member for Barker also pointed out, last week in Adelaide, former Prime Minister John Howard took the opportunity to reflect on the career of Steele Hall, and the same types of descriptors that we've heard by everyone that has paid tribute to the life and the contribution to public life of Steele Hall, a man of great conviction, a man always prepared to put his values and his views and what he thought was the right way forward ahead of anything else, sometimes in very difficult circumstance and sometimes in ways that brought tension within his own political party, let alone the challenges that always befall us when we do things that we know are right against the zeitgeist in public life. But that was exactly who Steele Hall was, and that's why he leaves such a spectacular legacy. As the member for Adelaide just indicated, indeed, his memorial was held at the Festival Centre on the banks of the Torrens, and it's been really important to reflect on that particular part of Steele Hall's legacy since his passing, that it was indeed his personal intervention that ensured that we have that beautiful festival theatre there on the banks of the River Torrens. One of the many things that Steele Hall leaves as a legacy for his service in three chambers, quite remarkable, three very significant contributions that in and of themselves were significant. But to do what he did throughout his adult life in contributing to the people of South Australia and the people of Australia, we pay deep tribute today. Joan, to you, of course, our deepest condolences, and we know it's been a very difficult few months for you and your family. Our heart goes out to you, and thank you so much for the way in which you've allowed all of us to celebrate Steele's life, celebrate his contribution, and make sure that we've marked in an appropriate way the legacy of a great Australian, Vale Steele Hall.